Good day. Today I would like to talk to you about something that is very dear to my heart, is the society to which I belonged and belong. Missionaries of Africa, known as White Fathers. Founded in North Africa in 1868, that means 150 years ago, we all started in North Africa because of a famine. The bishop of that time, Charles Lavigerie, who became Cardinal Charles Lavigerie, wanted people to help these people who were suffering in this famine, and so he got men and women, priests together so that they could serve the people who were suffering at that time and find food for them in different parts also of Europe. At that time, Algeria and Tunisia were all part of the colonial power, under the colonial power of the French. And so our cardinal, coming from Bayonne in France, decided to form a group of men and women, priests and lay people, to go out and help these people who were suffering. That was his first plan. But his second plan was to enter into the continent of Africa, which at that time was not known so very much. We knew all about the sides here. Many travelers from Portugal and other parts of the world had come and traveled along here looking for the spices and gold and all those other things that the colonial powers were searching for. But our founder wanted to go inland. So he tried by going through North Africa. Many of our missionaries were killed, martyred, because they were not accepted under the Tuaregs. So then he also decided, well, let's go to the central part of this Africa that is not known and where the population is very high. And so he got missionaries to go to Tanzania, Bagamoyo. That is where they landed. And they went inland to Tabora and eventually to Mwanza. Mwanza, the Christianity grew very quickly, and we even got martyrs from that occasion, as the leader of that time, the king, did not want to accept Christianity because he was wanting to do things that shouldn't be done, and therefore they were killed because of their faith in Christ. And then we had people coming from also the Congo. And so this is how we evangelized the central part of Africa and also these countries that were French colonies. And there we came to go to Timbuktu, which is a country or a village, or was at that time a place for the colonial powers of the French. So we started establishing ourselves in these different areas. And so we were called the Missionaries of Africa. And why we are dressed like this is very simple, because that is how the Kabyle people used to dress in North Africa at the time of our foundation. And so we took this as our habit. So it's really a lay habit for men of the Islamic faith. And so we were wearing this. This, a gandura, a burnous, a red hat we used to wear with a shisha, all coming from that culture of that time. We carried around our neck the rosary. We were put under the protection of Mary, and we were to expose to others our devotion to Mary. And so around our neck went the rosary. And we were called to recite it every day. The brothers, or lay people who were involved in also the beginning of our congregation, were helping the people to learn about agriculture, better farming, better life standard of living by better results in their fields. And the women, under the Mother Salome, she got the sisters to look after the women, the sick, the dying, the schools for also. And so that is how we all began, a simple beginning, very, very simple. The White Sisters experienced something very special, is that the founder was saying, oh no, I want to dissolve this thing. And the sister says, no. And they forced the cardinal to accept them as the missionaries, sisters missionaries of Africa. So over the years, we went evangelizing to the central part of all this beautiful continent of Africa, all the central part of these things. So we are not so much on the coast, but we are inland in all these different countries of Africa. And today, our presence is still kept there as a presence of Christ in the midst of an Islamic state. So we grew over the years, and we came to Canada in 1901 to search also for missionaries, to give that missionary spirit to the people around us, and so that they could also find new members for their congregation. For we had all our formation was given to us in Algeria and Tunisia. And we built a beautiful cathedral there, a basilica, Our Lady of Africa, to which also the Muslim people have a devotion to Mary. That's why our devotion to Mary is very, very important. Every night we'd sing a hymn to Mary and asking her to bestow her blessing on all the people of the world, and especially those who are suffering. So I entered in 1964 as a brother, as a layperson, learned mechanics, learned all these secretarial things, these commercial things, all these technology, how to do plumbing, electricity, welding and all this. I learned that for 3 years. And then after they sent me back to Manitoba to be able to deepen my education or to lengthen my education, and I became a teacher for high schools. Returned to Tanzania, which is found here, and went to the place just along the Lake Victoria, a place called Biharamulo. And of course I had to learn the language. Every missionary had to learn the language. We live in an intercultural community, different nationalities. Very rare did I live with a Canadian, with a German, a Belgian, a Dutch, a French, an English. All these different people were part of our community. That's how we live internationalism. So we lived like that for many years. At the beginning, we were to establish the church. So we established the church in Africa, finding their diocesan priests, finding their diocesan bishops, eventually founding different communities of sisters that would be able to work among the people. But in the late 60s, 70s, we started accepting Africans as members of our congregation, and our Superior General now comes also from Africa at this moment. And so we traveled, we journeyed through all this history, bringing out the good news, opening schools. Very important. Catholic schools are for everybody. It's a way of evangelizing. Our hospitals for everybody, a way of servicing, witnessing to the beauty of Christ's mission to help the suffering and the poor, helping them to prepare to teach their own people, putting up teachers' college, putting up technical college, so they can learn and they could take over. The job of a missionary is to work himself out of a job. Once the mission and the church has been established, we move on to another place where the good news can also be proclaimed. And so therefore I joined the Missionaries of Africa. I became a lay person. After being in Africa for teaching for 3 years, I went back to Canada, did my studies for theology in England, in our international college, and worked in a parish all the rest of my ministry, working in the administration of our congregation, trying to help the people understand that Christ is in our midst and that he loves each and one of us through the witness of our lives. Then I was asked to be Bishop of Prince Albert, and here I am as your bishop for the last 11 years, and my term is coming to an end as I approach the age of retirement. So today we are remembering or recalling the calling of Christ to be missionaries, all of us, not only here but abroad, carrying all the time that church which is found in Africa, South America, in Europe, Middle East, wherever you want. We carry one another in this mission of bringing Christ to our world. And so this is how we did it. We have as our emblem the pelican. Missionaries are people who give their life, give it to the full, and give it totally for the mission of Christ, as we are trying to do now. So I hope that you will enjoy your adventure of learning more about the church as a missionary church, a church that is sent out to all parts of the world, to which we are all responsible of this mission. So may God bless you on your journey, and may we become missionary disciples of Christ.